Hey everyone, I'm Matt Dolan with Dolan Divorce Lawyers in Connecticut. And today what I'm going to talk about is how to calculate child support for high income families. For child support purposes, you're considered a high income family if the total combined net income of both parents exceeds $4,000 per week. So it's not gross income, it's the net income after deductions. If the total combined of both parents exceeds $4,000 a week, then you're considered a high income family and you need to calculate child support a little bit differently. So in order to explain that, I'm first going to show you how child support is calculated for a normal, not high income earning family. So allow me to share my screen here. So this is a set of child support guidelines for a family whose combined net income is less than $4,000 a week. So the child support guidelines look like this. So we've got Jane and John. We've got two children in this scenario. These are all of their deductions. And then we've got their net incomes here on line 14. And these should match up with the financial affidavits of the parties. So line 14 is each party's net income. And then line 15 is the combined net income of the parties. So that in this situation is $2,170. So if you just do a Google search, you should be able to find the child support guidelines online, and it's a whole packet. But you're going to open those guidelines, and then if you scroll down, you'll find this giant table within the guidelines. And it basically, the left column is the combined net weekly income of the parties, and then there's various percentages and child support amounts depending on how many children there are. So in this scenario, again, John is the person who's going to be paying child support, and the combined net weekly income of the parties is $2,170. So we're going to look for the $2,170 line on the child support guidelines. And so we're going to scroll up here, and we've got 2,170, and then we're going to go to the two children column. So that is this right here. So it's 23.45%, or a total child support obligation of $509. Now, that does not mean that child support is $509 per week. What you're going to do is you're going to take this percentage and multiply it by the net weekly income of the person who is paying child support. So we're going to go back to the child support guidelines, and here line 14 is the net weekly income, and John is the person who's going to be paying child support. So you do $1,397. Let's see, we got a calculator right here. So we've got $1,397 times, let's look back at that percentage, times 0.2345. So times 0.2345. And that equals 327.59. So round up to 328. And that should match up with the number on the guidelines. We've got $328 per week. And then the percentages are calculated. So the guidelines also calculate each party's percentage towards work-related childcare expenses, unreimbursed medical expenses. So you take that by, again, it's 328. And then you take the wife's, you take the party who's receiving child support. So their net income before child support is $770. And then you add to that, so you do 770 plus 328. Their net income after child support is $1,098. And then you divide that by the total combined net weekly income of the parties. So you do 1098 divided by 2170, and that is 0.5059, which rounds up to 0.51 or 51%. And you can do the same calculation for the person who's paying child support, and he will be 49%. So that's how you get to this 5149. So if you look at the child support guidelines, though, and you scroll down to the bottom of the table, the maximum, the highest number that the table goes up to is $4,000 per week. So let's look at the scenario, or let's look at the child support guideline rule. So child support obligations for higher incomes. So child support when parents' net weekly income exceeds $4,000 shall be determined consistent with statutory criteria, including, a certain section of the Connecticut general statutes. So it says the minimum presumptive support amount shall be the support amount at the $4,000 net weekly income. The maximum presumptive support amount shall be determined by multiplying the parent's net weekly income by the applicable percentage shown at the $4,000 net income level. So let's go back to, all right, so here's a scenario of a 2,000, Jane is earning 2,000 and John is earning 8,000. And their combined net weekly income is 6,300. So what you do is, so for the net income, John earns, before child support is paid, John earns 76.84% or 77% of the $6,300 per week combined income. So if you go to the 4,000, line under two children, you're going to see this 708 number right here. So basically, and if you look at like the guidelines, the software will say that the presumptive support amount is $544 per week, which is basically lines up with the minimum presumptive support amount. And let me show you how that $544 a week is calculated. So going back to the table, you see this $708 is the presumptive support amount for both parties. If you go back here, if you were to multiply that figure times John's percentage of the combined net weekly income, which is 76.84. So if you do 0.7684 times this number right here, the 708, times 708, the minimum presumptive amount is $544. So that's the minimum presumptive support amount for a high income earner. That's how it's calculated. And then the maximum is his net income, which is $48.41. So you do $48.41. And then you multiply that times the percentage in the table. So it's two kids and we've got 17.71. So you do his net income of $48.41 times 0.1771. And his maximum obligation is $857 per week. So it can be anywhere. So the range is anywhere between that minimum of $544 a week and the maximum of $857 a week. And again, the percentage might be different. So if they have 4 children, for example, the maximum support obligation would be the net income of the child support obligor times 0.2302. So that is how child support is calculated for higher income earners. If you have any questions about how to make that calculation, feel free to call our office at any time.